She hasn't seen another of her kind in 4 months, and her brain doesn't care. For the snow leopard, solitude isn't an absence, it's the architecture. Her neural landscape, shaped across millions of high-altitude selective pressure, was never built for the proximity of others. To understand what that actually means neurologically, you have to dismantle one of the most persistent assumptions we carry about consciousness itself, that loneliness is universal. In highly social mammals, wolves, primates, elephants, forced isolation triggers a measurable cascade. Cortisol baselines spike. The anterior cingulate cortex, the region that processes both physical pain and social rejection, fires as if the animal has been wounded, because neurologically it has. Social exclusion and physical injury share the same threat architecture in these brains, the same circuitry, the same alarm. In the snow leopard, that alarm was never installed. What research into solitary felid behavior reveals, particularly in studies on large felid stress physiology, is that the dopaminergic reward systems in obligate solitary species are not calibrated to social proximity the way they are in gregarious mammals. Their baseline dopamine regulation doesn't require the constant reinforcement of conspecific contact to remain stable. Solitude, for them, isn't deprivation, it's homeostasis. The brain isn't enduring the quiet, it was built from it. Consider the interior reality of that existence, not through the lens of what we would feel, the dread, the unraveling, but through what the organism's own neuroception actually registers. Through the framework of Jacob von Uexküll's Umwelt, every species inhabits a perceptual world built from its own sensory and neurological architecture. The bear's Umwelt does not contain a category for loneliness. Its interoceptive signals, the body's internal broadcast to the brain, do not flag the absence of others as a threat state. Its allostatic system is tuned precisely to find equilibrium in that absence. What we experience is existential punishment. Evolution handed them as a gift. Here is where it gets uncomfortable. Our dread of solitude is not a spiritual failing, it's a biological tax, the cost of belonging to an ultra-social species whose survival for hundreds of thousands of years depended entirely on group cohesion. Our anterior cingulate cortex fires pain signals when we are excluded, because for our ancestors, exclusion was a death sentence. We didn't develop loneliness. Loneliness developed us, shaped our brains to make isolation intolerable, to drive us back toward the group with the same urgency as hunger. We call this depth of connection, richness. What it also is, mechanically, evolutionarily, is dependency. The snow leopard has no such debt. She moves through a world that requires nothing from her but presence, no affirmation, no witness, no mirror. And somewhere in the distance between your neurology and yours, a question forms that has no clean answer. Which of you is actually free?